in like 10 or 15 years, the candidate for the Democrat Party will be like disabled, one-legged, trans, like non-binary, with one eye, half a head of hair, that like was born on Mars or something. It'll be like something crazy. And they'll be like, you can't criticize this person.
And they'll put $1 billion behind it.
I think if aliens attacked us, legit, like it would bring humanity together.
Elon Musk is one of the most crucial human persons to ever exist in the history of time.
Call us Reyes on the humble show. Yeah, we all in. Yeah, we all in. So grab your boys now, cause you know we all win. Lift your hands up.
Welcome back to the All In Podcast, where the truth is unedited. I am your host, Carlos Reyes, accompanied by a very special guest. But before I introduce this repeat special guest, let me just introduce the most interesting man in the industry. Nobody knows which industry, but the industry, Mr. Zadie. To his right, I got my business partner of over a decade, Mr. Sal Shakir.
Hey.
And now our very special guest, second time on the show, Mr. Bobby Sausalito. Sausalito.
Bobby Sauce.
Bobby Sauce,
Yeah.
a.k.a. Take Naps on IG.
Yes, sir.
Sir, welcome back
Glad to be
on the
back.
show, man. I know you're in town for the Amerifest.
Yes, America Fest. Yes.
Is it called Amerifest?
America Fest.
America Fest.
Yeah, Turning Point's America Fest. The greatest political conservative event of the year.
The biggest for sure, right?
For sure the biggest, yes.
Everybody, what'd you say, the who's who of
conservative
right-wing
political commentary and action, basically.
Give me some names that are going to be on there.
Steve Bannon, Donald Trump is speaking, Ben Shapiro, Matt
Trump
Walsh.
Jr.
Yep, Donald Trump Jr., Riley Gaines, and a who's
James
who.
O'Keefe,
Ted
Tucker
Cruz,
Carlson.
Tucker Carlson.
Everybody.
Many, yeah.
Those
More than I could name.
Those are the good guys. What demons are going to show
Jesus.
up?
I'm not aware of any demons that are particularly at this one. I'm not a huge fan of Ted Cruz, to be honest. I said him because I remember.
Why aren't you a fan of Teddy?
Because during the mysterious air virus, he was trying to push the idea that
The air
we should
virus?
pass a law, or that Congress should pass a law where people that got the mysterious potion should not have to wear a mask on the plane.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, you squishy demon. Like, how about everybody doesn't have to wear a mask on the plane? What do you mean you got the juice and now you don't have to wear it? Why just that?
Okay.
If we know that this is BS,
Yeah.
then why? So it's
Yeah.
like you are playing into it. It should be no one.
The mysterious.
That's one reason.
You know what's crazy, bro? I think the mysterious air virus, right, was
Good
one of
name
the.
for it.
It's
You
No,
brilliant.
can't say it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
We can't say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming back, bro.
But it was one of the wildest things that I've ever experienced as far as like lack of logic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Why don't we dive in just a little bit? Because Sal, you and I are business owners, and you're a business owner, and
Yep.
you're a business owner. We experienced that at a whole, like when you're a business owner, right? That there's multiple perspectives based on the experience that you went through, right? And when it hit the fan, Sal,
Yeah.
right? People were like, they don't know what was going on. And then
their
then the lack of, what'd you say?
They lost their shit.
They did.
Yes.
They wanted to find TP.
Well,
people were stacking up on toilet paper. For
yeah,
some
they
reason.
they raped and pillaged, all the stores for toilet paper for some reason. Like,
Yep.
like I think they thought that the what's another name for it, so we don't keep saying
The air virus.
Kufid.
I don't even do that. I don't even go that
You don't
far.
even
Yeah,
go
the
that
air
I just call it
virus
the
sounds-
mysterious
The
air virus.
mysterious
That's-
air
that's
virus.
dangerous
Really?
Sometimes I even say
territory
Varus just to not say the word. There's layers. to
It was
this.
like the first thing people did was they went and bought all the toilet paper like it was gonna give you a crazy case of diarrhea.
They literally lost their shit.
Bro,
lost
I
their shit.
had my office in communist California at that point.
Oh my god!
And they had security guards. It's like a 12-story building, and I was on like the 8th floor or whatever.
Mhm.
So they wouldn't let anyone in the building. So like I had employees that would like show up and then they wouldn't be there. And I'm like, why didn't you show up? And they're like, oh, they didn't let me in the building. I'm like, what do you mean? And then they forced you to pay rent. You still had to pay rent and you couldn't get out of your lease.
Yep.
It was crazy, man.
Well, and by the way, no judgment on anybody that actually fell for the
Suckers.
influence of most of the world. I mean, it was hard not to for a lot of people, right?
True,
I mean,
true.
Praise God, I my family and myself were like, you know what, we're good. We're just
Yeah,
not
sit this
gonna,
one out.
we're gonna we're gonna trust God, right?
They got strong. A lot of people got strong armed because their jobs got threatened. Like that was, I think, the main reason why people that I had, friends that I had that have discernment, got forced. It's like I'm going to lose my pension. I'm going to lose my stock vesting options. I'm going to throw away 10 years at the police force. I got 3 more years till I, retire or whatever. And it's like they got stronger. Or it's like, I have a baby. I can't not do this. I had a friend that's a surgeon. And he had went to 9 years of college. He had gone through his residency and he was about to get placed for a medical position. And they were like, if you don't take this position at this hospital right now, it could be a year before you get placed. So you're basically just floating, waiting. And it's like, if you don't get the juice, you don't have this job. And then they also see that you passed up on that job. So it might be less likely that you get the next one. He's like, my wife's pregnant. What am I going to do? And it's like, that's how they do it. That's how they strong arm.
You know what's funny? Like, let's call it what it is, because at the end of the day, there was a lot of speculations around the whole thing. Conspiracy on both ends. And that's probably what made it worse. It's true. Because people were talking about 5G. People were talking about, like, there was so many things thrown in the mix that it was hard to believe. So the poor consumer, like the poor citizen, didn't know what the hell is going on at that point. Let's take that in account.
That's true.
What about the 5G? What was that about?
Well,
right? I mean, I don't want to go into a whole rabbit hole, but I mean, wasn't that a confusing situation in itself?
I think that there's a lot of people that will say 8 things that are true and 2 things that are false, and those 2 things will cloud the water. But I do think that generally speaking, speculation is good. Do we know for sure that 5G is not causing some type of damage? I would say no. Is it responsible for this? Probably not. But I do appreciate the speculation. And I think that the thing that's the most important, I forget who said it. I think it was Vivek Ramaswamy. He's like, you should have the permission to hear things that are incorrect. You should be, or I think it was Rand Paul actually that said that. It's like, you should have the ability to say things that are wrong, and people should be able to decipher and determine those on their own. So the fact that people can speculate on that and not get silenced for it, I think is a good thing, even if they are wrong.
I respect that, but to an extent where it doesn't cloud the majority of people. Like if people are saying like, nah, that doesn't sound right. But when you have millions and millions and millions of people are fighting over it, then it's no longer an innocent speculation.
So what would be the solution?
Oh, I'm not here for solutions. I'm just.
Well, that's a problem if that's your side of the debate.
I'm pretty I'm a very pragmatic and logical guy, so I think I can enter a solution if we have that conversation, but it probably take a majority of this call.
I believe it was one of the worst handled situations historically ever in our country's existence.
Realistically though, bro, like how should it have been handled? You know what I'm saying?
Well, come on, bro. Like okay,
I'll criticize
no
it, but
lockdown.
if I had the choice to dictate what everybody would do, I wouldn't know what the hell to do.
Yeah,
no
like
lockdown.
compared to the plague, to the
lockdown.
Black Death. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying that this is, but if you compare it to something bigger, then it's
what were we gonna say?
No lockdown, no forced experimental juice. Yeah. It would have solved itself on its own. In fact, if you look at the statistics, towards the end of 2020, it was actually starting to die down. It didn't actually pick back up until people started taking the potion. And then it all started to go up after that. So it's like, so what did this do to modify it? It's like, had everybody just gone out and interacted with each other, and the young people that were predominantly safe, had they gone out and interacted with people and lived life as normal, and the people who were maybe immunocompromised or older were to stay home and be a little bit more precautious, the elderly people that are morbidly obese, what have you, it would have circulated its way around the healthy people and would have been eliminated probably a lot faster. Now, I get that hindsight is 2020, but there's a lot of keyboard warriors, much like myself, that have no medical experience, and it's like, in a couple of weeks I can figure this out, but you guys are sitting here with all this evidence and you can't. It's not that you can't, it's that you chose not to, because the power was more important.
That's where I kind of want to get into. For you, I'm asking you, Bobby, do you feel as if this was purposeful, or it was just fumbling, handling it poorly, or was it like a purposeful thing to execute a bigger plan?
I think 2 things can be true at the same time. I think that it was a combination of both. It's like, if a thing happens that's inconvenient, but it allows you to have some type of advantage, it may not necessarily be that you caused it, but that you either A, allowed it to happen, B, allowed it to perpetuate, or C, never let a good problem go to waste, as they say, as politicians say. So they're like, all right, we can use this to push through A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So I would wager that they just took advantage of it and dragged it out further. And then they also made it a politically divisive thing to say, like, look how bad Trump is. Let's get this going as long as we can so we could shovel this like meatbag vegetable into office and get him out. So it's like they took advantage of it at the expense of all the people and all the
most votes in history,
the world, really.
Presidential.
You
election.
can sum it up as evil because that's
absolutely,
it's pure evil.
100,000%.
See, that we can all agree on, but we don't know the extent of evil because it's so diluted with so many different things.
You don't let a kid go to school. You don't let a college kid go to class. You don't let people get cancer screenings. Like, imagine how many people died of cancer screenings, tuberculosis screenings, all these people that missed all these surgeries and all these other things. People that had their grandparents die in a nursing home, or in New York, where Cuomo put all the sick patients into the nursing home with all the vulnerable people. Like, the amount of death that happened and suffering that happened as a result, I would say far outweighs whatever they supposedly protected us from. And of course, hindsight is 2020, but there was a lot of demon things happening, and it was like maximum demonness, I think.
It was. None of it made sense, but I'll tell you what, a lot of people made a lot of money.
For sure.
A lot. We're talking billions and billions and billions.
Such is the game.
Maybe that caused inflation in itself.
Well,
inflation is caused by money printing and reckless government spending.
But guess what? They needed to pump money because there's people not working. So that's definitely a side effect.
And Trump did that. Everybody's like, Trump is God, praise the ground that he walks on, but Trump printed more money than any president in history by a long shot, spent a ton of money. So like, that's
but what if he didn't?
Well, you're correct in saying that in a lot of ways he kind of had to, but it's because the government was shut down. So it's like, he shouldn't have allowed any of it to happen. It should have been allowed to take its natural course. But
could he even do that though? With the governors are like mini presidents.
He got a lot of pushback though. Remember when
he was kind of complicit in, and like, again, I don't want to, like, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback. We don't want people to die. It's like, is he an expert in every single thing in the world? Does he want people to die on his watch? No. But like, he did push for the juice. He does still say that the juice was a good thing, saved 100 million lives or whatever to this day. That, I think, of all the foibles that Trump has, that is by far the most glaring example of what I would consider to be a mistake.
Well, remember this though, right? And not to dive even deeper into the subject, but the one expert that everybody trusted, Fauci.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to say his real name because
demon is acceptable.
You see what I'm saying, right?
Swap.
Like, dude, that dude fumbled it big time.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to. He's the guy we trusted for this thing.
Bank.
You get what I'm saying?
Like
he is the guy that everybody trusted to lead us and direct us through this issue.
Did you see the movie or the documentary about that book that RFK Jr. wrote about him?
I read the book.
Oh my God, dude. Yo, dude, you will believe that this person is a literal demon.
RFK wrote a book about Fauci.
RFK wrote a book about Fauci.
And he didn't get sued.
In like 2000, I think it was in like 2019. And then they made a documentary of the details of the book. I think it's called The Real Anthony Fauci is the name of the book.
Oh my God.
And there's a documentary I would highly suggest you watch. He's been doing this since like 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
Bro,
he's been at
with HIV.
He's been at the he's been at the forefront of like lots of like merchant of darkness type stuff.
So the book was written prior to the Airline.
I believe so. If it wasn't written prior, it was released in like 2020.
Wow.
And then there's a documentary that
it was enhanced after because he talks about COVID or
maybe
he talks about
the thing.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
But there's a documentary that I don't know. So when you put a video to it and you see all the photos of him versus just the written story, you're like,
true.
Oh my God! Like the stuff this guy's been doing. It's like at the end of all these mysterious things, it's like, here's this dude.
Yeah.
So it just so happens to be the highest paid government employee that also made all this extra money moving government money to private entities of which he owned a piece of. So this guy like enriched himself to the absolute maximum. And then they put him out front. It's like, oh, it's this feeble old man.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a hero. Look at it. He has a daughter. He's so nice. It's like, that's exactly how they do it. They just put like the demon in like the most like unassuming approach, and then they can just like do the darkest things imaginable.
This guy would go to Africa where there's no, like certain areas, no cell phone, no internet. Okay. He would go there. They would have test trials for drugs. He would test the people. They would get all fucked up, but they can't tell anybody. So they would use them as test subjects when they couldn't, because they wouldn't approve it in the United States.
Wow.
And then they get the drug. Yeah. Bill Gates and Fauci.
They're like, oh, we'll just try this in Africa.
We're humanitarian.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Fuck you.
Yeah,
So
Steve,
moving on, right? From, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's happened since the last time you were here. You were here right around the elections. We're now post-elections, and you know, so many things are happening. You know, in between Donnie got elected, and he needs to be sworn in on the 20th, right?
Yep.
You got here's something that's happened. Why don't we talk about the drones? What's going on with the drones everywhere?
I don't know.
No,
for
but
sure.
that's what the problem is. Nobody knows.
Well, somebody knows.
Yeah.
I heard Matt Walsh did a podcast like I think 2 days ago where he was like, imagine if your doctor was to tell you the answer that the government is giving as the official story about the drones. It's like, well, we don't really know what it is, but we know it's not bad. So like, it's probably fine. It's probably fine.
awful.
It's like if your doctor was to say that to you, you would be like, what?
Yeah.
How do you know it's not bad if you don't know what it is? To me, it's like, the most probable explanation is that it's ours, or that it has some affiliation with the military industrial complex of our own country. Yeah. If it was and Matt Walsh pointed this out, I think he did a good job of breaking it down, where it's like, if these were spy, whatever, probably be a bad idea to make sure everybody sees and hears you. So it's like, and they have lights on them. It's not like they're hiding. So to me, it's like, it's much more of a conditioning. It's probably us, and
Probably some DARPA.
yeah, it's like, who's to know what it is that they're doing? But I would wager that it's more than likely us.
What about the possibility of it being extraterrestrial?
I think that's highly improbable. Not because I don't believe in extraterrestrials, but because like when you see extraterrestrials, they're not like catching 500 of them in a day at a person that just is like, oh, there it is. It's sitting there. They move and they're in and out quick. They are not afraid to be discovered, but they're not
Gonna get caught.
they're not like that obvious. So I would say an extraterrestrial would be a little bit more
My wife
cautious.
kept, my wife kept bugging me about the drones for like a week, right? The drones, right? And I was just like, babe, I said, it's aliens. And then I go,
Could be.
and then I go, here, let's watch this movie, War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise. And then we watched the movie. We watched the movie. She's just like,
That was so evil.
my
You-
yeah, I did. I just got tired of it. It was like,
You
I did.
You scared
You
her.
can ask her.
You scared her from thinking about
Yeah.
it.
Traumatized.
She's like, babe,
her.
do you really think they're UFOs? You know, I'm like, you know, babe, I said, listen, we can't control whatever the hell's going on anyway, right? Like, it's not Iran, you know, it's not China from what we know, right? Donnie says that the government knows, the military knows. Why don't they just be honest with us, right?
Yes.
That's what he said. That was his statement.
Well, the one thing I think is different between those and alien aircraft is that alien aircraft have propulsion that we are not familiar with, that often does not make noise.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Hostile
if you
technology.
research like aliens, whatever, all of them are nearly silent,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a propulsion that doesn't involve combustion.
Mm-hmm.
So these drones make noise.
Mm-hmm.
So if these are actually alien craft, I would wager that they wouldn't make noise.
Yeah.
So that makes me believe
Maybe
that.
they're
One day I would
prehistoric
love to have a
aliens.
conversation with you about like extraterrestrial, because it sounds like you.
Here we are.
Yeah, I mean, today is probably different topics, but you know, I would love to have that conversation because
Sure.
it's intriguing. You know, I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
cosmic
No,
stuff
he's well versed in the
The dark arts.
You know what I think is fascinating, that we think that we're so like humans are smart, right? Like we know that we're the smartest being here, but we're only 1% smarter than a monkey, which
Are you sure
a
about
chimpanzee or yeah, and
1%?
1%. Our DNA is 1% different, and
Well, that
we
doesn't
have-
mean we're
we're-
1% smarter.
no,
but-
we're no, but we're like that difference, that 1% in the DNA difference means that you have a monkey that they move blocks and they do these things, and that's the highest.
So you mean like
level
our
of-
chemical makeup is like 1%?
Yeah, and then you get to think, I'm like, with that 1%, we have philosophy, we have
Skyscrapers,
science, we have all the things that we have today. imagine a species, whether it's extraterrestrial or something that emerges.
If they're 30% smarter?
No, that is just 1% smarter than us.
Sure.
We would be like chimpanzees to them with our philosophy, with everything. I would be talking like about this and politics, and they'll be like, "What? Google Gaga?" Like in their mind, right?
No.
They're like,
just-
oh, they're still
puts
talking.
it puts things in perspective.
That is wild.
Yeah.
That is wild. Okay. Well, we don't know where the drones come from.
Yeah.
Right? To be determined. But okay, moving on to another subject that I wanted to discuss. The Kroger and Albertsons, that blocked merger situation.
Yes.
Right. That was kind of a big deal. And what's crazy is like it was kind of a big economical deal, but nobody made a big deal about it.
Yes.
Right. What do you know about that?
So I made a video about this because I like talking about economic matters. I consider myself to be like I guess you could not necessarily a libertarian, but like an Austrian economist.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like the summary of it, to keep it as simple and as succinct as possible, is Kroger and Albertsons are the number 2 and number 4 grocery stores in America. And if you combine the total grocery sales between these two stores, they are not as big as Walmart, which is the number 1 grocer in America, sells the most groceries, the most produce, etc. So them blocking this merger was to supposedly to keep the prices down for consumers and allow the employees of each of these respective grocery chains to compete with one another for these employees. So it would theoretically keep the wages high and then keep the prices low because they would be competing with each other for prices. And Elizabeth Warren and soggy crustacean demons like herself will say how this is so great. But really what it is, as I alluded to in my video, is that it's a gift to Walmart, because Walmart is the largest seller of groceries and produce. So now they don't need to worry about somebody really chomping at their heels. And then you have other grocery chains like Meijer, like Amazon, like Target, and other big chains that have the advantage of technology, that have the advantage of selling other products that are not grocery items and produce items, that can now compete and knock these two away. So in the way that the government blocks businesses under the idea that they're stopping a monopoly actually creates monopolies. There would be no monopoly if not for the government. The government creates the monopoly. So the government, by blocking these two grocery stores merging, now made Walmart much more powerful and now made Amazon much more powerful. So the exact people that they purport that they're fighting against is who they actually are helping. It's always the opposite of their stated intent. And they talked about how Albertsons and Kroger have all these employees that are competing with one another. Well, Walmart is the number 1 employer in America. They employ more people than any other business in the entire country other than the federal government. And now all those people that work for Walmart, well, they can't compete for their jobs with anyone else. They're the biggest player. So the point is that by trying to prevent a monopoly and pretending like they're keeping prices low and keeping wages high, they are actually doing the exact opposite. It'll make the grocery prices high. It'll make the wages actually lower, because more of those people will now work at Walmart, work at Amazon, work at Target, as opposed to working at these two grocery stores.
That being said, do you think it's safe to assume that Walmart lobbyists paid off
I was just
people
about
like
to ask, special
like
interest.
Pocahontas?
For sure. I mean, Walmart donates a tremendous amount of money in lobbying money to different politicians. I mean, really, they all do. They play both sides of the equation. But the point is that like the fact that they sell it as they're doing this like altruistic act, like we're keeping grocery prices low. It's like, well, then what about Walmart? Or like you have somebody like Elizabeth Warren, who has repeatedly talked about the profits that are shared by these two grocery stores. A grocery store is one of the thinnest margin businesses that exist by a long shot. Not even close.
She's never owned the business. She doesn't know that.
There's very few businesses that have as little of a margin as grocery stores do. And she rails on this, but she doesn't rail against BlackRock. She doesn't rail against all of these other businesses that have a considerably higher profit margin. She just decides to isolate these two. And my question is why? And why do bureaucrats have so much power that they can intervene in the free market? Because if those two grocery stores were allowed to merge, it would reduce their costs. They would now be able to compete with Walmart because they would have more stores and they would have more buying power. So the prices would have gone down so that they could take some market share away from Walmart.
Consumers would win.
The irony is that it's crazy.
It's backwards. It's backwards.
That's insane. Like they could have used another excuse. But you're gonna use the one excuse that will damn you.
Yeah, it's the opposite. But that's the thing. That's what the
what they
government
do.
does.
Yeah,
they
that's
say they state what they're trying to do, and it has the opposite effect of their stated intent. And it's like she says she's some champion for prices, but really she's actually creating more of a problem. But a lot of people are not well enough versed in economics where they're just like, oh, every store around me is a Kroger or an Albertsons. This is good. They're standing up for us, but they don't understand the economics of it. And to be completely honest, I didn't know as much about the grocery store chain until I started researching it. And I was like, if Elizabeth Warren says it, I know the opposite is true. So I started diving in, and I'm like, there it is. Look, here's your 10 biggest companies. These would not even be as big as Walmart if they were to merge. This would be a good thing for these businesses. And recently, Spirit Airlines and JetBlue were not allowed to merge. And as a result, Spirit Airlines is going bankrupt. And people are like, well, that doesn't mean they're going out of business. Yeah, but they're going to take routes away from certain cities that they would have had routes at, that them and JetBlue could have combined forces, combined their fleets, and it would have reduced the prices. And now Spirit is not going to be able to serve those areas. And if you live in, I don't know, Charlotte or whatever, maybe you don't have an inexpensive route now. Now you have no route at all. So it's like by saving this merger that would create some type of monopoly, you're creating the opposite of your stated intent. And they do that all the time.
With all due respect, by the way, Spirit's rough.
Yeah, it is. I hate it. I would never fly it again.
You don't have luggage and you're short and small.
Bro, hold on.
But it's a solution.
Yeah.
But it solves a need.
For sure. Agreed.
As is the free market. Why does something exist? Because there's a person that's willing to purchase it. If you could get your family to Vegas for $250, you have 4 people, you can go to Vegas now. But if you can't, then you can't go at all.
Like 2K.
So it's like they're solving a need. Yeah, you got to listen to somebody playing Candy Crush with the volume up loud and no one says anything to them. So it sucks, but that option is available for people
you may get clocked
yeah
by accident.
Yeah. Somebody may punch you for your bag.
There's, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Let me just tell you, because you're bringing in, airlines and stuff like that. I've been traveling a lot over the past 6-7 years, Sal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Flying all over the country, and I traveled a lot. This is the year probably that I traveled at least in the past 7 years, right?
Without an air virus, either.
Huh?
Without an air virus.
Without what?
Without an air virus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was traveling, I was in the air when, all I had to do was, buy something or buy some snacks, and I can take the mask down.
Yeah.
Because
Eat the
it
whole
doesn't
ride.
hit you when you're eating.
Yeah.
Right?
If you
when
eat
you're
the whole
drinking,
ride,
You
you don't have to
activate
wear a
a
mask.
shield.
yeah, when you're drinking and eating,
Yeah.
there's a shield that goes out, right?
Lollipop was the hack.
Oh.
I never did the lollipop.
Lollipop.
I never did the
Yeah,
lollipop.
that's like
I just kept eating.
that's top tier shit.
Bro, you're on a whole different level.
Bro, I like the
You're
way
like,
you
I'm
think.
eating a lollipop.
Hello.
Yeah, you get one of those
Get
big
one of
ones.
those biggest
Yeah, you're just
lollipops.
like,
Takes sour apple.
Yeah, this will take me 7 hours to finish.
Yeah. Wow. I never thought about that.
They're very
Lollipop.
nutritious.
Oh, we could do it for the next one that's coming.
Well, hopefully there's
We're
not a
prepared.
next one.
Oh
but-
no! Don't
It's
say
coming.
that.
It's coming.
So what I wanted to say was, in my opinion, right here in this order, here are my top airlines. I would say my top 5
Domestic.
airlines. Domestic,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right. Number 1, Delta.
Over JSX?
You can't do that because JSX is very
Semi-private?
it's not only like semi-private, but it's not everywhere. It's not like a
That's true.
major airline, right? It only travels for certain cities or whatever, right? So we're, with the exception of JSX. All right. So top airlines, right? Delta, American, United, Southwest. After that, bro,
I don't even know.
Alaskan Airlines.
After that, it's like
Gets
Frontier, Spirit,
Yeah, you
right?
can't do that.
I mean, that's everywhere, right?
Frontier, bro.
Okay, this is for my own. Which one is worse, Frontier or Spirit?
Frontier.
Frontier.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I don't think I've never flown Frontier. I have flown Spirit.
I had the
never again,
perception
though.
of the yellow being the worst, which is Spirit.
I'm 5'4", okay? And it's small for me.
You're not 5'4", but that's fine.
Frontier's small for me. I'm compact, like I feel like a sardine.
Jeez.
Spirit, I got a little bit of leg
Like
spreading.
I feel like in Frontier, you don't
Right.
get.
Imagine Spirit just like being
Frontier
better
is
than
like,
anything. It's hilarious.
Yeah, if you compare them to schools, like the seats are not as big. Frontier is, but then you got the fights. You got Spirit.
Yeah.
I think takes
Frontier,
the
you
win.
pay for peanuts, bro.
Yeah, well, yeah, but then as Spirits, you get clocked. You get fights all the
Really?
time.
Is that really
You get
happen?
assaulted.
I mean,
really happen?
I think the most fights
my
are
God.
in. Again, that could be my
Frontier?
perception. No, Spirit.
Oh,
Spirit is.
well, there was a recent scandal that came out. Remember that? That people were like charging, the actual employees, like they all got fired.
Oh, you
Remember
mean
that?
in Congress where Josh Hawley was going after them for trying to isolate people that were carrying onto the plane
Yes.
and charge them for it? Yeah.
Who was that?
I don't-
Frontier, right?
I think it was all of them that were talking about it. I don't know who they were isolating though.
Here's a real situation with some of these airlines, right? See, a lot of people think that they're saving money when they book, kind of the lower, totem pole, right? When I'm going to book Frontier to save money. I'm going to book Spirit to save money, right? And then you got to pay all these extra fees, these hidden costs. And then you end up actually paying more money than some of the top, 2-3 top airlines. And then you have a crazy experience. And then you don't even know if you're going to make it. Like, you don't even know, like, oh, man, I hope it gets there, right?
Yeah.
Because if you think about it this way, right? Okay, the top 3 airlines, people like, by the way, don't sleep. Southwest, a lot of people swear by Southwest, right?
Yeah,
Me.
that's great.
The
That's
service
great.
is crazy, right? Like the
I
customer
love
service
Southwest.
is great, right?
I'm very satisfied with Southwest.
The only thing I don't like about
No
Southwest is that
change
there's
fees.
no first class.
Or
That's true.
there's no assigned seats.
And there's no assigned seats. But
That's
you can
changing.
get the priority.
changed.
That's changing
Yeah,
in
they
August.
Okay. Oh, I like that.
Changed.
Yeah.
But the captain is so friendly.
Yeah.
And then the what do you call those
Flight attendants?
The flight attendants are they're so friendly, right? Right. Everybody's so friendly at Southwest.
The
I
friendly
feel like they got
skies.
some of the best customer service.
Yep.
For real, right? They're like the T-Mobile,
Mhm.
of airlines. You know what I mean,
Their
right?
phone service is good too. When you call in to change, it's a person that's like, hello. And not like,
Yeah.
hello.
Well, see, they're
Can I
customer-
help you?
So right, okay. They still don't offer Wi-Fi though, right?
No, you can buy it. It's
Oh, really?
It's $8.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay. But okay, back to like, Delta, they make a good amount of money, right? American right behind them, they make a good amount of money. And United, they make a good amount of money. Therefore, they can pay for higher quality employees from the captains, right? To the flight attendants. You know what I mean? Right. So you expect just a little bit of a better
To
service.
the Biscoffs.
You got the Biscoffs,
Yeah,
the free
you got the
Biscoffs are
goodies.
money. Have you ever had free Biscoffs?
Yeah.
They're money. If you're friendly, they might even give you 2 or 3. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Seed oils though.
Right. By the way, huh?
Seed oils though.
Seed oil. Yeah, I know. They're just so good though.
Sometimes
Don't
don't
drink-
seed
by the
oil.
Do not drink the coffee in any flight.
Yes, right. That's correct.
That's a flight attendant just told me that, by the way.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah, because
Why?
the
don't
water
clean
is from the airplane.
Oh,
So it's very
Like the
acidic.
bathroom water?
I don't know if it's bathroom water,
I
but
just heard that they don't wash like wash it very like the
Yeah, it's
the
just-
cleaning.
What
You
does
want
it-
something that's in a can and that's it. They even say that about the ice, but I still get the ice.
yeah.
I usually just buy
get
a
the
bottle.
ice
I
too.
usually just buy a bottle of water unless it's a
Yeah.
real
Yeah,
long
right.
flight.
I get
Smart
the
way to
ice.
go.
But anyway, so just you brought up airlines and just want to talk about airlines. But
Yeah.
okay, moving on to our next subject, right? Let's talk about what you were saying earlier, which is the pharmaceutical companies. How pharmaceutical companies, they buy about 75% of ad time
Mhm.
on television,
Yes.
right? What's going on there?
Well, basically, my theory, I suppose, is like I think it's like 73 to 75% of all television advertising is from pharmaceutical companies.
Wow.
The United States is one of 2 countries in the world that allows for pharmaceutical commercials
Who's the other
on
country?
television. I forget what the other one is. It's like Denmark or some I don't remember. Iceland, Greenland. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
But there's one, or maybe it's Australia. I can't
Yeah.
remember. But there's one other country other than the United States.
Okay.
And so if that is the case, and 70-something% of your revenue comes from pharmaceutical companies, well, that means that any of these news outlets or any of these television commercials, it's highly improbable that they're going to make a show or a news segment that would convince people to not purchase those pharmaceutical products or would question either A, whether or not they're good for you, or perhaps promote some type of alternative solution. If that's who's paying 70-something% of your bills, if I'm buying all your commercials, I would say, hey, you can't make a commercial that says that, Ozempic is bad. You can't suggest that Ozempic is hurting people. Or if you do, you have to provide an alternate that's like, oh, this has not been verified or something. So if you were to remove the ability for pharmaceutical companies to buy all these advertisements, what would happen to mainstream television? And most importantly of all, perhaps, what would happen to the news? Would the news be forced to change and be forced to attract advertisers that didn't believe in all of these things that they lie about? And would television now become more truthful and honest?
Wow.
Because if you can make 70% of your money by saying, go get the mysterious potion, the potion is good, brought to you by Faisal, brought to you by whatever. That's exactly who sponsors all these companies. So if you were to take that away through the stroke of a pen, which hopefully RFK Jr. can push towards the forefront, what would happen to television? What would happen to news? These demons that push to me, the most society ruining ideas there are, your Joy Reids of the world, your Mark Cuban, Rachel Maddow hybrid types, they are pushing like demon things. And the reason that they're able to do it is because the pharmaceutical companies are still willing
Pay their
to buy
salaries.
those
But the
commercials.
pharmaceuticals can afford that because they make so much money.
So
So
would
if-
they make as much if
Well, they wouldn't. But then if they have to supplement those, like what is going to supplement those ads if they were to be removed? You have to find either another business venture or whatever that sector is that has to make so much money that fills that void, or they have to crumble. The
I think
second
those
thing
slots-
is-
I think
is
those
that
slots
they
can be
shrink-
filled.
The free
it would
mark-
s- it would shrink. I
free
think it
mark-
would
I think those
probably
slots can
shrink
be
them
filled.
first
Yeah, but
before.
the free market would sort itself out. That's what the free market does. That's how a free economy works. And you know who might start buying television commercials if that's the case? You,
The good guys.
me,
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah.
Pretty sure
Why not?
Coca-Cola would take it all.
Yeah, but
Sure,
it have to
why-
go
why-
through
why
an
wouldn't- why sh-
adjustment period first, which is hurtful for them, and they have to endure that.
That would be good.
Absolutely, but then if you
Sal,
if they
you're
start
acting like
lobbying,
these people. You're acting like these companies
you're
and
not-
these networks
you're not
are living
getting my
month to
point.
month.
Yeah.
You're not understanding what I was going to say. What I'm saying is that they might go shake hands with another devil.
Sure.
Like they wouldn't want to go
For sure.
through that pain, and they go this different direction where we wouldn't even get to place those ads because they already found an alternative because they shook hands with the devil on another front. And
I get
that's
it.
it's going to be painful for them to go.
I
through
don't
that
think they're
process.
going to replace Viagra with like Smith and Wesson or anything.
No, but like
that, you know what I mean?
Coca-Cola, Bud Light, other things that really aren't good for us.
Well, somebody would buy the commercials. It would sort itself out on its own. It's like, look, bad things happen as a result of people drinking Bud Light, but is Bud Light inherently bad? No. Pharmaceutical products, I would say, are far more damaging than Bud Light
point.
is, and a multitude of other things. So I would say, like, probably the most pervasive, like, darkness on American society probably is pharmaceutical products.
Yeah.
Antibiotics has killed more people than we can count.
Wow, really?
Oh yeah, because you're
testing or what?
Because you're fighting something and then they mutate and then there's this new. That's why people don't even finish the. I don't know if you've read about it. Where if you don't finish your course of the antibiotics, like then the new variants of like the mutant. The mutation of those viruses would get better and better and better. But in reality, like there is literal debates that should we have ever even invented antibiotics? Because we would have probably been better off without them if we fought them and if we did it in a
Naturally.
naturally.
That I don't know the answer to, but what I would say is that I am not a disbeliever in science or in things like Tylenol. It's like these things are very helpful. I'm not to say that all pharmaceutical products are bad or that surgeries or any of these things are bad, but I would say that it has gone to a point where it's like don't diet and exercise. Shoot yourself up with this thing that makes you want to eat less. Don't solve your mental health problem. Take this pill. They're like, are you sad and lethargic? Like, take this pill. And then there's like a person like floats into the sky and then they're like playing cricket or something. And it's just like, no, maybe don't do that. And then they get all these kids on these and then it's like, oh, do you have anxiety? Do you have depression? Do you have ADHD? Do you have all these things? And it's like, I would wager that if it weren't for the absence of all these pharmaceutical products, they would find ways to move that advantage to something else. If you had to figure out how to solve your depression on your own, you would develop a variety of positive habits that would benefit you, your own health, people around you, the world in general. It's like you shouldn't be taking a pill for depression. You shouldn't be taking a pill for anxiety. And I know a lot of anxiety people
what about Viagra?
flip upside down. Well, that's an example of, Yeah, fine. It's not that all pharmaceutical products are bad. It's like there's lots of things that are good. It's like you're going to tell me that putting antiseptic on your cut so it heals faster is bad? No, of course not. Are Band-Aids bad? Is Tylenol bad? No. But it's like these mind altering substances that are used to I think solvable human problems that you could solve on your own with probably food, exercise, diet, and the right mindset, perhaps. Those are bad. And then when you push them on kids and say like, oh, you could stay taking this when you're 7 and you'll probably be good. I think that's a problem.
Well, I think we're the most unhealthiest country in the world by far, right?
I mean,
we are.
Some countries, they don't even have food, bro. So
no, I get it, bro. But
like,
I feel
we have
like
fake food, but they don't have
when
food.
does capitalism become toxic, right? We always talk about that.
Never.
Like when
It's not capitalism.
You don't think it is?
No.
It is.
No, it's not. Capitalism is not. That's like saying that money is evil.
No. It's not. That's not what I'm saying.
No, I know that that's not what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I'm saying it's the same similarity. It's like saying that money is evil. Money is a tool, just like a gun is a tool. A gun doesn't kill the person kills the person. So it's like to say it's the gun's fault is like saying it's capitalism's fault.
I get it. I get it,
So
but
it's not
makes
capitalism.
sense.
well, okay, all right. We can say it's not, but it's like how do we allow the pharmaceutical companies to reign supreme in the first place, right?
Payoffs.
Because they pay the most money.
Payoffs.
Well, if it weren't for government, it's probable that they wouldn't have as much power.
Yeah.
I mean, Medicare buys 50% of all the pharmaceutical products.
Yeah.
That's the government.
Everybody gets a piece, right? Everybody gets a slice if you think about it,
I have a question.
What do
about-
you think?
Oh,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what do you think RFK, like, so there's 2 questions I have, right? Number one, before I get into RFK, because I'm a big fan of RFK.
Yeah.
Right. But number one is I still do not understand the picture that they all took, RFK and Trump and everybody on the airplane, holding up the McDonald's or eating McDonald's. What do you think that was about? Was that trolling or is because again, McDonald's keeps popping up.
Yes.
Right? Like, remember, Donnie was at the drive-thru at McDonald's. Now they're on an airplane. They're eating McDonald's, even though RFK is totally against an unhealthy diet.
Yes. I think if it was me, I would say that they shouldn't have posted it. To me, it was not a good look, generally speaking. And I think
Why did they?
Why did they? Debatable. I think that
Is Donnie sponsored by McDonald's?
I don't think so. I think that maybe McDonald's is looked at as a great American institution, much like Boeing is. Boeing is basically propped up by the government, and they're like, Boeing, and even Trump has said Boeing is so great, and it's like Boeing's done a lot of super dark, super sketchy demon, as I would say, like demon things, not to keep hammering on that term, but like Boeing's done a lot of really bad things. And you know who pays a lot of their income? The federal government. And then Trump, again, not to criticize Trump, but it's true, is like Boeing's a great American company. And in a lot of ways it is. It's the largest aircraft maker, I believe, in the world, second only to, I think, Airbus. So it is. But again, the government props it up. If the government was not buying all this stuff from Boeing, would another aircraft company come to the forefront? Again, the government creates monopolies. So to get back to the original point of the photo, I think it's trolling. I think that Trump has, look, when you have a multidimensional organization, you can't be good at everything. You're going to get a little bit of guidance from the wrong people at the wrong time. Much like, I think the perfect example is Tony Hinchcliffe speaking at Madison Square Garden. I like Tony Hinchcliffe. Great. Is an insult, is a roast comedian the best in the home stretch of the election that could alienate a group of people?
Against
bad
liberals?
recommendation.
No.
So it's like somebody recommended that. Did Trump sit there and say, you know who we should get? Tony Hinchcliffe? No. Somebody in his inner circle was like, this is a good idea. Bad advice.
Let's troll everybody.
It's highly probable that the McDonald's falls into that type of category. Where they're like, it's a troll.
We've done
whatever.
an event when we've invited a speaker that it was a bad advice before. So
Yeah.
and we didn't,
2 speakers.
we've had
specifically.
plenty, but yes. Two that stand out.
So McDonald's isn't really that bad in other countries, right? Because of the regulations on how they have to prepare the food and what they could put in there.
I would say that a lot of countries have a lot of different food regulations that we don't have. Like, for example, Italy, my native Italy, doesn't allow for GMO products of any kind to be imported into the country. So there's not a GMO vegetable or product in the entire country.
Wow.
It's completely banned.
I saw this
Why
thing.
do we allow it? Toxic
we get paid off.
capitalism. Aha!
It's not toxic
See what I'm
capitalism.
saying?
It's not capitalism. But that's the thing. It's not
Evil capitalism?
If you have to
people
go
are-
to the root, it's probably gluttony, bro.
Well,
We're full of. Our country wants more. Like our people want more.
We're the
and more,
fattest
and more,
country in the
yeah.
world.
I would say that under this logic, again, two things can be true at the same time. Is this a bad thing? Yes. What is the solution to this bad thing? There's only really two solutions. Solution one is it is what it is right now. Solution two is you ban it. Should it be banned? There's a case to say that cigarettes should be banned. But should they? No. They're bad. Yes. If people could choose to consume them,
Cigarettes are stupid.
If should Bacardi 151 be banned? Probably.
Gasoline.
Bad.
Coca-Cola?
So I think that when you look at something like GMO, for example, here's an example. If genetically modified organisms allow you to sell a tomato for less money because you can produce a bigger crop that can feed a family that doesn't maybe have as much money,
Right.
in the event that there was no GMO tomato, would they have a tomato at all? Because they couldn't afford it. They couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Because it'd be too expensive.
Yeah.
Because they reduce the prices by offering a GMO. Should it be clearly labeled that one is one and one is the other? Yes.
I think they are.
But that's what government can do. Government can say, just so you know, keep you informed. But they should not be in the business of blocking or banning certain things based on a sliding scale of danger, much like they selectively choose information to block. It's like the government should not be interfering in the free flow of information. Like Rand Paul said, you have the right to hear the incorrect thing, because it's a moving goalpost. Is the mysterious air virus as dangerous as they say? Oh, we said it's not. Is the mysterious potion as good as they say? Well, if somebody says that it's good now and they block you from saying it, and then it turns out to not be the case, wasn't that bad? There's been a lot of scientific analyses over time for not only health, but how the world operates that have been scientifically verified and then later proven to be untrue. The most obvious one is that the sun rotates around the earth. That was a widely accepted scientific fact for a very long time. And I forget who it was that, people are going to cook me for it, but I forget who said, but no, the earth rotates around the sun. But that was scientific fact. And if somebody was to say that that's the case way back then, they would have been like, misinformation. You're blocked off of you can't go in the town square and yell through the horn.
Well, we all say something wrong. Like we all say, oh, the sun sets and sun rise. No, the sun doesn't set and sun doesn't rise. The sun is always there. We just rotate and then we see it that way.
Sure.
It's an oxymoron kind of. So there's a lot of those mistranslations that we accept it as normal, but they're not.
I got a question. Is the flow of information going to flow more freely next year in 2025?
I certainly hope so. I believe that it will and it would. Yes. And that's why, for a lot of reasons, I think that one thing that I think about often is like when Albert Einstein was alive, were people like, Einstein, this is the guy. It's like, you imagine, how could the world exist where there's this guy, Albert Einstein, that's so smart, that found out all these things. Elon Musk is one of the most crucial human persons to ever exist in the history of time. He is an American hero by all sense of the word, a true American patriot hero. He is Albert Einstein, perhaps even to a greater degree. He's Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein. He's all of it. And him purchasing Twitter, a seemingly relatively insignificant event in the whole scheme, because it was one of the smaller networks, did more to perpetuate the free flow of information and ultimately paved the way for other social media companies to have to compete on free speech distribution than anything else. He set the tone for that to happen. So by him purchasing Twitter, by information allowing to be distributed on those platforms and maybe not on others, people will flock there. That will single-handedly push free speech further. That likely had something to do with assisting Trump and all these other ideas to move up to the forefront in a very timely way. It likely got a lot of people to vote no on that bill that's being worked on right now. And I would say that it certainly will be more free than if Kamala was in there. So I would say yes, it will.
That's good.
Well, besides him being a patriot, like for humanity, he's commercializing people to be able to go to Mars.
I was just about
and
to ask
eventually, you send enough families there and they live through a few generations, then a colony would start in there. And then with few generations further than that, you might have some people that adapt to living there.
Let me ask you this.
And then we'll have
Will
complaints.
Elon Musk get us to Mars?
If anybody could, I believe that he could. Yeah.
I would say he started it, so it's if he doesn't finish it, his kids or whoever his
See that,
predecessor.
but it's gonna be a potential problem because we're gonna go there, we're gonna colonize it. Then Martians are gonna like protest. You know, you colonizers, you Earthlings, what are you doing? You know. Then the liberals will get on board, and then
yeah,
we'll
but
have
then now
another issue.
you'll have two different.
No.
Well, if we ever get to Mars, will we live like the movie Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Remember that?
Because there's no air
I
up
do.
there.
Yeah.
Well,
Quado.
will an alien lady split her top open and have three sets?
Yeah.
Possible.
What was that? Total Recall? Oh, yeah.
That was
Yeah.
Total
Yeah,
Recall.
okay.
Yeah.
Men,
Wasn't that
in Men in
AOC?
Black had that too, I think.
No, I don't
No.
think they were.
Yeah,
no.
Men in Black did have a.
No,
Really?
anything Will
Three-breast
Smith is
lady?
in, there's no top showing for sure.
What?
Never mind.
I mean, I'm not saying the top show. I'm saying there is three.
Oh, really? Okay. Here's another subject, right? Biden has recently and officially handed over 8,000 pardons during his 4-year term, more than any other president historically. What's going on with Mr. Biden handing out over 8,000 pardons?
He made it rain.
He's like just
He made it rain with pardons.
Would you say that he's handing them out like Tic Tacs?
He's handing them out like candy.
Well, if Biden is like an empty vessel, like meat bag vegetable person that doesn't really know how to do very much of anything, clearly he's not the one that's issuing these pardons. So the question is A, who's running the government, B, who's issuing the pardons. But some of them are like so unexplainably disgusting that it like is tragic.
Can you give us
Now,
some examples?
did I investigate every pardon that Trump made?
There's 8,000.
No.
Well,
Did I
Trump
investigate?
was under, like,
He did some that are kind of sketchy too, like not to give him complete clemency there, but no, like one of the people that Biden pardoned that I just saw today, she killed three of her ex-husbands for insurance money.
My
In
goodness.
2020 they let her serve the remainder of her 40-year sentence out at home, and she was serving it at home, which I think is messed up anyways. You kill people for insurance payouts, and he pardoned her. Another one was
Wait, so she's Chinese?
Yeah, she's
free.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah,
Was she
she's
Chinese?
Oh my
She's good.
God.
Yeah, multiple murders for insurance money. Like,
Wait, do you think somebody
It's called
will-
the Black
do you-
Widow.
Do you think there'll be a
Oh.
fourth marriage somewhere?
Probably,
Now,
yeah.
because she's
I hope
pardoned.
she marries Hunter Biden.
Wait, does pardon if you get pardoned and you commit the same crime, are you still protected?
No,
Oh,
it's for the existing
Past crimes.
Unless you give a blanket pardon like Joe gave to Hunter, which is like
So he
pretty
could do
outra-
anything.
it was anything that already occurred in the past.
Well,
So
actually,
he could have an illegal firearm.
He could
again?
have murdered 50 people in cold blood in 2017, and he would be free of it.
well, not only he gave him like a whole window, like time
Yeah,
frame.
10 years. Yeah, he could have.
Can you imagine?
He could have murdered 100 people in that.
Bro,
time
you're
frame.
like Biden's playing God at that point.
Yeah. Well, one of the people that he pardoned was this guy that sent a bunch of juveniles to prison so that he could make like a rip off of from the prison system. Like he got paid. It was called Cash for Kids or something like that. I think it was
my
called Cash for
God.
Kids. He was literally taking an underhanded payout from, I believe, one of the prison systems or one of the penitentiaries or something, to sentence kids to jail time that probably didn't deserve it. And he had sentenced all these kids. One of these kids committed suicide because of this sentence that he gave. So it's like unforetold amounts of human suffering as a result of this one piece of shit guy. And he granted that guy clemency. There was another one that was really messed up as well, but there was this woman that embezzled like $50-something million over a period of time. She was the treasurer for like a small county in like Illinois or something. And she like embezzled $40-something million over this long stretch of time and put it into her own personal accounts. She had a horse, she had expensive lavish vacations, and they ended up finding this accounting error later on and catching her. And she got this long prison sentence, and she was serving it out at home at her farm, and he just commuted the sentence. Like literally like embezzled $40-something million from taxpayers.
How did those names get to Biden to sign off on that? Like, what is the paper trail? What is the breadcrumbs on that?
I think that the majority of those people, because like the commonality that I saw between these people was they were already serving at home. Like during the mysterious air ruse, all these people were out of the prison systems to reduce the population. Again, yet another collateral damage knowledge of this BS.
Yeah.
So they were allowed to serve their prison sentences out at home. So home confinement. So I think he just took all the home confinement people and just wiped them. And these 3 people likely fit into that category. They were probably at a minimum security prison, but prison nonetheless.
Yeah.
And then they went to their house, which probably is wrong also.
Yeah.
But then they just got wiped. It's like these people did like pure some
But you could have
scumbaggery.
just left it be. Okay, let it be. Like you're serving at home. Like
Yeah.
okay,
Let him finish
We
the
made
sentence.
peace with that fact, but now you're forgiven.
Imagine being the prosecutor that worked on a case that, because catching somebody in these things is not easy. It's like if anybody watches crime shows like I do, it's very difficult to even when
evidence.
it's so obvious, to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, take it to court, multiple years of time, all this effort, and then to get a guilty verdict after that, then to get a sentence that you believe is justified for the crime that's committed. It's a very convoluted mess. So imagine working all that time on like that woman then murdered her husband for the insurance money. And then he's like, you good? It's like, oh, you demon. Like
So what you're saying, like imagine you're the
prosecutor
or the investigator or whoever, like
or
you
someone
were the
that got
cop.
victimized, the brother of the guy that got
Like
killed.
you just
Jeez,
lost
oh my
all
God.
faith
Yes.
in the system.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like your brother was married to this demon lady and he got murdered for $50,000 and Biden's like, yeah, you got it.
So
It's like,
let me ask
you
you this.
mother.
Why doesn't Biden pardon Diddy?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know.
It's not at that point yet.
Well, he hasn't been sentenced yet. Has he? I don't think he has.
I don't think you have to. I mean,
I don't think he's going to court. No, you're right.
Fauci.
No, you're
been
right.
Sentenced. Remember,
Yeah, because-
Fauci? He
because
pardoned
Diddy-
He
because-
preemptively pardoned Fauci.
I think Diddy is. I mean, hey, it's entirely possible that he could, but I don't know what advantage it has.
Joe Biden doesn't like black people, bro. He's not gonna
Oh my
do that.
God.
It's not gonna-
Well,
Wow.
the murderer lady was a person of color,
Oh, okay.
so I don't know. I
Wait,
mean,
why couldn't-
Ketanji Brown Jackson is highly unqualified for her job, and there she sits. So I don't know.
Oh well.
Yeah, I don't know if color has to do with it, but you know, if it's in his best interest, he
I mean,
probably
his
would.
mentor.
Well, you're
is-
technically a person of color.
I think.
Oh yeah, of course.
You're Arabic.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody is in this room except for me.
I mean,
I'm just a stupid Italian.
all
You're
our
an
DNA
Italian.
comes from
Eyes on.
Africa, bro.
Yeah. You're not a person of color.
But
You're
my
Armenian.
DNA comes from Africa.
You're Armenian.
I'm a Caucasian African American.
Is Armenian a person of color? Is
No.
it? I don't even know.
We come from the
Oh.
Caucasus Mountains, so Caucasian.
Oh
right?
hell yeah!
Oh God.
But
All
but
right.
again, but that's what
Look at us.
I'm literally a
Represent.
Caucasian African American. My DNA, I tested it. It comes from Africa. I have evidence of it.
We
so-
all come.
I think yeah.
I'm saying, but I
Technically,
tested
we
it.
all kind of
Yeah.
do.
I know, but I like actually have the evidence. It's not like, you know, hey, I'm from Africa, but it's like legit, like on paper. So,
okay.
These types of labels are even
That
are
makes
like
it legit,
preposterous
okay.
in and of
Okay.
themselves. the fact that these are
it's stupid.
the
Exactly.
fact that it's even a classification
Divisive. is
preposterous.
it's,
Really.
it's created
You know
to
what's
divide
funny?
us. So
You
we
know what's
fight
funny?
against each
Yeah,
other.
you know, like okay, we're human beings.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the only race.
Can you imagine, Sal? Right? Can you imagine like dogs, right? Dogs don't look at each other like, oh, he's a Rottweiler. Oh,
He's
my
a
God.
Doberman.
You know, he's a black Rottweiler.
Yeah.
You know, don't let him in. Right?
If
Like
aliens-
dogs look at each other like they're just all dogs. You
They
know?
even look at other species that way. Like there's plenty of videos of like a cat that or a dog that befriends like a duck or a squirrel or whatever.
Bro, I listen.
It's on TikTok. Dude.
I swear, like never, ever, ever have I looked at a human being and then thought like color.
Yeah. No,
You know what I mean?
It's man-made.
Some-
It's
it's
our
like-
society made it. But think
Yeah,
of this:
I look at
social
if there was
construct.
aliens, which I don't know, I can't say yes or there isn't. But if there was aliens that were to come and hover and observe, they would see these humans.
Yeah.
They would never see there is color. All they see is that
No,
there is
species.
there's this
We're aliens.
species.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can call it whatever they call them, but like let's say they're human species, and there's animals, different species of animals, and different. That would be it. So we made that up.
It's a
And
social
we decided,
construct.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we
for
decided
sure.
to
Yeah.
separate. Like, and on a deeper level, we're all beings. We're all conscious beings, and not to get into that whole realm, but we're all conscious beings. And then our meat sack has an identity and has a name and has a. That's what it is, and it's given by it's given to us by somebody else. So we're assigned that by the name, like, and then we get to talk about like, oh, I am this person because my parents is this, and
Well,
that.
think if
And then now we
aliens-
start, and that's how it starts. At a young age, you start to be programmed to have us, and there's others, and the others are different countries, different different color, different whatever, different
religion,
and then we take
It's
it
so
all the
stupid.
way down to who you are. Well, I am a businessman. I am a doctor, and like it went so deep because of that one thing.
I think if aliens attacked us, legit, like it would bring humanity together because then we're all on the same team, no matter what country we're in, no matter what we look
that's
like.
why, that's,
don't get
that's
it.
why it's good to have conflict.
When this is what I don't get. Ready? This is what I don't get because I've been thinking about this a lot lately.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Okay. Collectively, right? We are one species.
Yes.
Shouldn't we all be working together?
Mhm.
Yes.
Right? To make the future, better and better and better. I think even as crazy as people think he is, Kanye West said this.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't get it. He's like, there's a lack of logic there when you have the human race. You got the Chinese, and they're at it with the Americans, and then the Mexicans are at it with the Americans, and the Russians are at it with and the Iranians are at it with Israel, and it's like, shouldn't we all be working together to make everything better?
Yeah, there's
Everything.
one solution to that.
There's selfishness.
Everything
There's-
better for the next generation, for the existence of the species, the human
Yeah,
race.
but what is the problem? Like, if you were to ask what's the problem, what's the solution? There is the one problem that we can.
It's stupid.
Yeah, but you know what the problem is?
What?
Do you? I mean,
I
I would like
know.
to take.
I don't know.
I
Like,
think
you're the
I
one
know.
with the Christmas sweater. Tell us.
You know what? It was Christmas spirit at work, and
I know.
only 4
You were
people
the
got
only
them
one.
Only
that way.
four. All dressed up.
Haneen, the
There's 4
finance
people
lady,
in
she
the
worked,
office
yeah.
that were. I wish I wasn't one. I guess I.
No, it's a nice.
That's all right.
Anyhow,
it's all right.
um,
It's cute. It's a nice sweater. It's cute.
Thank you. It's wife, you got it.
Yes.
Good job, Brittany.
All right. So if you were to think of it, what is like it's insanity. Like as a species, we're possessed by something that we don't even know what it is, and that makes us fight each other.
I
and
think
that
I know
one
what it
thing
is.
you know what it is because we've
Yeah.
talked about it. Yesterday we were talking about it, and me and you have been talking about it. It's the ego. It's that is it, and it starts when we are assigned a name and who you are and a race and a job title and this and that, because there is the me, and you don't look at yourself as the conscious being, the person that's alive, and that's who you are. There is no others. There is no somebody that's against you, and it's all that plotting that happens in our head is from our history and our future that are trying to protect us, which is our egoic
That's
mind.
deep, bro. You want way deep.
I mean, I know, but like if hopefully they unlock
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
to
yeah,
do a
yeah.
research on that. Like watch Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's been on that journey for a few years. So if you watch his some of his speeches, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
I think it's power. Like if you want power
But
and you
where
want to
does power
control
come from?
people,
That it
but what I'm
goes
saying,
back to the ego.
but I'm saying, well,
It
if
is.
you want to
It's a
control,
mental
but I'm-
construct.
but-
That's our
yeah.
mind.
But wait, no, what I'm saying is like if you want to control people, bro, and you want them to do what you say, is it easier to control 7 billion people, or if you break them up into little groups and races and
Yes.
religions?
No,
correct.
It's easy to control one person, 3, 5, 100, not 7 billion. You know?
It is a double-edged sword. Let me tell you what the
Uh-oh.
double-edged sword is. So think of I'm gonna talk about something monumental, like something big that happened as a race. We went to space. Us just
Well,
going to space.
Did we go to space in
Well,
1969?
whatever. Okay,
Bobby, what do you
forget
think? Bobby, what do you
yes,
think?
we
Where did that little cart fit? Like, what spaceship
All
did
right,
it?
that's
Did it
fine.
fit? You
But,
see what I'm
okay,
saying?
Us even trying to go to space.
There was a shadow there too.
Camera
All right, so
quality.
let's not talk about the moon and all
He
that.
under he's like, yeah.
We lost the technology.
You're missing the
Yeah,
point.
we
but
lost the technology.
We deleted the tapes.
Yeah. What?
All right, you guys are missing the point. The effort that to go there, whether we went there or not, just us trying to go there or
To build a
went there,
rocket to go.
to build that, gave our hospitals X-ray possibilities, our cell phones, like all these things. Our humanity propelled
Wow.
was moved forward because of
true.
these
Yeah.
efforts.
Okay.
But guess what? There is a fact that we stopped our program, and guess what happened? Our space program is not as advanced. There's now China's program. There's Russia's program. That in itself gave us an enemy or somebody else that we need to beat, and that creates the technology and that creates the drive for people to do better versus the other person. And that in itself also, you can't take that away. That in itself also helps us as a species to advance forward because there is that competition, even though it's mistaken.
get
It's your ego, it's
But
your
why
mind.
not do it
that's
together,
fighting
Sal?
for it. Yes, but guess which one is a bigger motivating factor? And that's why it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to know what would it be if there would be no ego, right? If the whole world was like what Christ wanted it to be,
Yeah.
right?
I was just about to say that, by the way.
What would the world look like?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I can tell you this much. it would be a lot better than what it is today.
Exactly.
That's
Less
it.
wars, less hunger, etc. Less
And maybe some
divisive.
stuff that we have today would become even irrelevant, or we wouldn't even consider it.
Bobby, you wanted to unload a lot of.
I don't know.
Bobby's
We
been
want
so
a
many
whole,
different. No, it
facial-
wasn't just you. He was like in you know what I mean. He's been wanting to unload some.
There was just a thing that came to my mind about to go back to race, about how the government in and of itself, the bureaucracy has a hand in this divisiveness, which to your point about how dividing people is how they become easier to control. It's like race in general is a learned behavior. That's why a baby will interact with a person of another race. And if you say, what do you notice about Charles over here? It's like, oh, he's a boy. You don't think about what they look like. So that's a learned behavior. So in 2008, when Barack Obama got elected, race became such a huge, prominent part of his approach. And if you look at the mentions of race or racism in the newspaper, there's this chart that you can find online where it shows how all these mentions of racism increased in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and all this stuff. So they started talking about race. Obama talked about race. When I think it was Trayvon Martin got killed, he was like, that could have been my son, made it about race and not about just a guy that was breaking into houses in the neighborhood. So the point is that when the government, Obama, makes race part of the conversation, brings it to the forefront, and then they start making laws about, well, this is if a white guy kills a black guy or a black guy kills a white guy, this is a hate crime now. Now there's a different categorization for this crime, assigning meaning behind it, when really all crimes are hate crimes.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So to say that one is not,
so
another thing is
true.
because the bureaucracy makes the race be a thing that separates them. Then you have them come in and do things like affirmative action and say, oh, we're going to do equity-based programs
More
where
divisiveness.
only black entrepreneurs or only Latinx entrepreneurs or only LGBT entrepreneurs get these types of grants. Now you're segmenting all these people into different buckets, and you're creating more division between those people and more division between those groups. And then, because everything the government does has the opposite effect of its intent, instead of uniting these people, it actually divides them. Then if you know that you could get sued because if you fire this person that happens to be black, or you fire this person that happens to be a woman, or you fire this person that happens to be trans, that you could get sued because it's discrimination, because you fired them because they are black, because they are trans, because they are Latin, that you could get sued. Well, the easiest thing and the best thing for you to do would be to hire a white guy, because now you're not liable. There's a white guy can't sue you for firing them. They don't have a protected class. So the government is getting its dirty, filthy paws into all these things and exacerbating the race differential to make it easier to divide and control us. Race would not be so popular if not for the bureaucracy making laws because of it, if not for the media, which follows along with them, propagated it and monetized it, and then got paid with advertisements from pharmaceutical companies to keep doing it.
Be
so
honest,
profound,
though.
by the way.
It
Like the
is.
cascade, or like how you saw this, how far you saw this. This is
Bobby's a
amazing,
deep
yeah.
thinker.
Very.
Don't sleep on Bobby.
That's right.
Yeah.
Take naps on me. Though.
I'm not napping on it.
No. Let me ask you this: what party constantly reminds us of race?
Well, right. Exactly.
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah, the left, the Democrats.
Why?
The slavery party.
Always.
Because if you create a victimhood mentality, you need daddy to solve it. So I have to create the problem, and then I have to present you with the solution. This is often what government does. It creates the problem, and then it sells you a fake solution. And then when that solution doesn't work, they say that they need more power to get it to work. This was a good start, but we need more. We need more money. We need more power. We need more authority. We need more of your rights to be taken away in order to actualize this plan to solve the problem that we helped to create.
Oof.
They do that with college. They've done that with the healthcare industry. And it's like they did that with mortgages in 2008. It's like they created the mortgage crisis by allowing all of these businesses to make all these loans. Then they bailed out the banks that should have failed and propped them up. So it's like the government fosters the environment for it to happen, makes the problem happen, sells you the solution. The solution doesn't work. They need more power and money and authority to solve the problem that they help create. And then they just keep perpetuating it forever. And that's how they usurp more of our power over time. And then whenever you go to criticize them, it's like, well, you're criticizing it because, so then they give you a Black woman, Indian, LGBT, handicapped, trans person with Down syndrome and say, you don't like them because of any of these things. It's like, you can't say that Kamala's bad. She's a woman. You can't say she's bad. She's Black. You can't say she's bad. She's an Indian. You can't say that. So they give you a person that you can't criticize because of those immutable characteristics that they insulate them with. And then they can sell you a bag of shit and say that it's good.
Like in California when Newsom was going up against Larry Elder, I talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
Where they call him the black face of white supremacy.
Yeah,
it was a lesbian.
Yes.
It was a lesbian black lady that put that out. What are you going to say to her?
Right.
Yeah.
How are you going to How are you going to call her out? That's to your point.
You know what's crazy?
Mayor of Chicago did that.
You know what?
The mayor of Chicago got criticized by reporters for being a demon, a literal demon that looks like a demon.
She really does,
and
bro.
and she was like, you're criticizing me because I'm Black, because I'm a woman, because I'm lesbian. She's a Black lesbian woman, mayor of Chicago. And then towards the end of her term, she said, I will take interviews and I'll accept, I'll do press hits, but only if you're a person of color. So no white journalist.
Whoa,
she
wow.
literally
So
was
she's
like,
the
that's
racist
racist.
Black.
I know. But that's the whole point. It's like, you can't criticize me because I'm lesbian Black woman. And the mayor of Chicago right now, Brandon Johnson, who's a complete Poindexter dweeb loser, he says the same thing. Whenever you criticize him for what he does, he's like, oh, I'm a Black man with a family and I have kids and you just hate to see a Black man focus on his family. It's like, no, you liar demon.
Victimization.
Like, you're such a, like, they create an insulation where it's like, we don't give a shit that you're Black, dude. No one cares if you're Black. I don't care what you are. No one cares what you are. But you're making that is the shield that they can cloak their bullshit in to make themselves, to put themselves in a victimhood class and reject any criticism. And that's why you have Kamala there. That's why I feel like somebody like Gavin Newsom maybe doesn't play, even though he's a slippery serpent demon, because he's a white dude. Mm-hmm. They need like Pete Buttigieg or something. They need like a little gay guy or something. They need somebody that has some type of protected thing. White man won't cut it. That's why they need somebody like Kamala.
White man bad?
Yeah, they need somebody that fits into the like, I literally think like there will, in like 10 or 15 years, the candidate for the Democrat Party will be like a disabled, one-legged, trans, like non-binary, with one eye, half a head of hair, that like was born on Mars or something. It'll be like something crazy. And they'll be like, you can't criticize this person.
And they'll put $1 billion behind it.
Yeah. She'll be like, we're fighting corporate greed. And it's like, meanwhile, you're backed by like Amazon, Google, all these companies. We're fighting the billionaires. And then you have J.B. Pritzker, who's just like a complete dirt merchant, governor of Illinois that purchased it basically, that literally is a billionaire. And he's like, we're going to fight these billionaires. You're the billionaire, dude. Yeah. Like, you are the guy.
Yeah.
But they're fighting. It's like, it's perfect.
Who are they really fighting?
I want to wind the show down by highlighting some of your very, very famous adjectives that you have created,
coined.
You should coin some of them.
Pushed to the forefront, I would say. I don't know that I created them all because some of them I kind of picked up out and about. But
great artist steal, bro.
Have you heard his adjectives?
No, I have not.
I want to hear him.
He's in
I'm
for
excited.
a treat.
Let's go.
Right. Okay. So talk to us about your adjectives, please. Go into them.
Well, at the very beginning in 2020, when my account first started, I needed to come up with alternative ways of saying things that would get me censored or banned. Mm-hmm. So I would call things the mysterious air virus. I'd say the potion or the juice, to try to avoid censorship, because the AIs in all of these social media companies can pick up on words, audio, and they'll read the dictation. If you say the wrong things, like if you say, I say Faisal instead of saying that word, it would pick up. So I came up with all these alternative ways of referring to things. And then in the process of doing that, it kind of became my calling card. And when I'm talking to people in real life, I do the same. So I say soggy, I say demon, I say crustacean, I say dirt merchant, I say smooth brain, soggy brain. I use the term bag, like a bag of beans, a bag of garbage, a bag of rice, bag of trash. I say garb all the time, like you're a garbage merchant, you're a dumpster merchant, you're hot garb, you're crispy garb, you're garbage juice, you're dumpster juice.
Is there a place anyone could go to get the translations?
Yeah, actually, he just made a whole video about it.
I just made a video about people have pushed me since the very beginning to make like a Bobby Sauce dictionary, and some people have helped me put it together. But it became such this expanding project that it
doesn't end.
I was like, it's too much. So
and you're gonna continue.
So I'm gonna keep making video. I'll just keep making videos when I have a collection of terms that need to be classified.
You should post it online where people get to access and read it too.
Yeah, well, that's what they wanted me to do, but I just made the video explaining what it is.
Do you think they'll ever get to a point where you get so big that your definition or your words are the triggers now?
In a dictionary? Or,
yeah,
the
AI picks up
like
your word of it. It's like, we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, they like block crustacean or something. I don't know. I think that's kind of the genius of it, is that like if I say dirt star, it's like, that's a butthole. But it's like,
oh my God.
It's like, but can you ban?
I didn't know that.
You can't ban dirt.
I have no clue. Is that what it is?
Okay, I have a few for butthole. Dirt star, brown eye. My favorite is from Mark Norman. He calls it a balloon knot. I like that one as well. So I say like plunge your dirt star, plunge your brown eye, or your balloon knot. I think is really funny because you just get the visual.
Yeah.
It's just very accurate.
So let me ask you real quick, right? How would you describe, like, if I said the word Nancy Pelosi? Or sorry, if I said the name Nancy Pelosi,
how would I describe her?
Yeah,
no,
adjectively.
You mean using my
yeah.
Well, I usually call her Nancy Garbelosi because she's a dirt merchant, garbage person, etc. I call her crustacean because she's old. I call her soggy because she's old and she's like an old sponge, like needs to be discarded. You're a dumpster person. I call her a demon often because I think she perpetuates lots of dark, nefarious, like demon type things, like tell the boy to cut off his penis and he'll be a girl or whatever. She pushes the puberty blockers and all that. Like she does pure demon things. So really any of those terms fit. I called her bolt-on bags the other day, which I got from Chad Prather. Credit to him for that. I really just interchange all of them because they all, in theory, they all describe the same thing. Like,
they are.
Piece of shit. Like, it's like, how many ways can I say piece of shit without saying piece of shit?
Yeah.
Testing your vernacular. That's
brother,
great.
it's been a fun one.
Yes,
so
indeed.
fun, bro.
It's right. It's always great when you're in town. Anytime you're in town, bro, let's just do it again.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
We'll have to do an alien dedicated one.
Yeah, actually, we'll do one. Yeah.
Here's the last thing I'll say about the aliens. If you had a ship, okay, cloaking exists. The military has cloaking technology.
Yeah.
You put
Cameras.
you put like mirrors and cameras on one side that shows the other side. You could cloak like a tank.
Mm-hmm.
What's more single color than like the sky?
Yeah.
So it's like if you could make a ship that can't make noise, which they can because they're not using traditional propulsion, wouldn't they cloak them? Of course. You wouldn't be like, oh, there's one in New Jersey. Like,
so they want to be
fucking
seen.
FAA lights on it.
By the way, I'm
It's
not
like,
the guy that says there isn't.
I know.
I just don't know if there is or isn't.
No,
There's no proof just yet. But yes, I'm with you.
I'm just saying, like, to me, that's like, if that's what you're telling me, you travel across a galaxy, you have a star base under the sea, and like you have lights on the thing. I don't know. I just don't buy that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Mr. Bobby Sauce, aka Take Naps. If you have not followed him on Instagram, please do so. And man, thank you for joining us on another one. We will see you next week.